Hello, everybody. Welcome to this live stream here. I'm Renee Vidor. I'm the founder of the Winner's Circle, author of Measuring Up How to Win in a World of Comparison, and a coach that loves to help other people be able to be who they're created to be, do what they're designed to do so that they can win at life and make their impact in the world. And today I have the opportunity to kind of interview and get some great content from my friend and fellow coach, Jeff Elder. So Jeff, I'll let you introduce yourself real quick and we'll move forward.
Great. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Elder. Thanks, Renee, for having me on this interview today. I'm excited to see what God does with what is said. I've been really praying specifically for this interview that these words are not my words, but I've been given something today that I believe somebody needs to hear. And so I'm really excited to dive in. And I think it's going to be very applicable to kind of a call to action today for people and some things that they can do uh, to get the help they need. But yeah, like you said, I am a coach, a strategist. I specifically work with Christian entrepreneurs, and what I help them do is get clarity in their business so that they can get focus around the important things that they need to do in their business, so they can start implementing those things that maybe they were stuck with, or they doubted themselves about whether or not they could actually do it. And my biggest, the thing that brings me the most joy is when I hear my clients say, wow, like I have not taken this much action in my business in a very long time. So that really brings me a lot of joy to hear that, because I can relate. I've been down that road, and I'm not perfect either. And there's times when I find myself right back in that same spot. So sometimes when I coach, I'm actually coaching to myself too, because I need to be reminded and encouraged of those same things.
That's a really good point, Jeff, that you made about needing coaches need coaches. Coaches need to be continually learning. And if they're not, then unfortunately, the buck stops there, right? So today, as we are talking to anybody who wants to listen, but at the same time, we are specifically talking to Christian entrepreneurs, business owners, those who might be running a nonprofit or an organization, and you're looking to be a better leader, you're looking to grow your business or your organization in 2022. And we're going to deliver some great content that's going to help you be able to do that. And three specific areas that you'll need to have clarity around in order to actually have that growth. So a couple of things I want to start with is I want to get to know you. If you are watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching the replay later, then hashtag replay so that we can see who's following along. And let us know where you're from. And also, I'd love to know what businesses, organizations, what kind of leader you are. Just tell us a little bit about you so that we can get to know you and maybe even highlight what you're doing through this and maybe even coach and help you. So go ahead and let us know down in the comments. And we'll go ahead and get started. Jeff, I know that, let me start with even how you and I met. We met several years ago in a situation where I believe a business event or something like that, maybe like a luncheon. And I remember sitting at a table and sharing with you how frustrated I was with, it wasn't even at the time a business that I was doing, but it was an event, kind of like a specific event that I was doing every year. And it kept growing and growing. And I'm like, I don't know what to do because I need some new strategy. I need help behind the scenes because this is more than what I know how to do. And I remember sitting there and God just putting it on your heart and you being someone who kind of stepped in, walked beside me and helped me through that process. And since then, I mean, I've had so many compliments on my website, which I need to update, by the way, that's on me. But you've also hired you to do my website. You've done so much other work behind the scenes and also helping me through my business. And so I'm very honored to have you as one of the coaches coming up in the Winner's Pace Mastermind, but also you've been coming in and serving in the Winner's Circle, which you're a part of too. So if you want to share just a little bit even about at all through any of this, anything that you've helped me with or other clients, without sharing their names, of course, unless you want to highlight them, then that would be welcome, because I remember the feeling. And let me know, anyone who's watching, if you felt this way. So frustrated, so confused, feeling like I did not know how to move forward with something. And yet I knew God was calling me to it. I knew it was something that I was praying for answers for. And Jeff, what are some of the things that you were able to step in and help me with through that? And this will apply to what we're talking about today, I think, because the fact that we have so many people that are signed up to watch this that are nonprofit leaders, business owners, and organizational leaders that are feeling stuck. They're feeling scared. But what are some of those things, or what's something that you started with me that was so helpful, and how might it be beneficial to those that are watching today?
Yeah, it's funny. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. I'm sitting around that white table and just chatting, and the first impression I got was, this person has a great idea, but she seems very stressed. Like, because you wanted to do a really good job. And I think that event you're talking about, it's helped so many people. And so first of all, when you started to share, it really started to resonate with me, particularly around because of some things I was going through back then too. And I thought, wow, this is such a great thing that she's doing. And I know lives are being impacted. And yet I think she's stressed. And I felt like even though you had help, I kind of wondered, how much help do you really have? And
I didn't have much.
yeah, and as you have gotten to know me, I just love to jump in and serve, especially when it's something that I know could have a benefit or could advance the kingdom of God. And that event definitely does that. And so my first thing was just to listen. I don't think, often we feel like we're not heard, and just allowing you to talk and share and me just kind of listen. I think that's the first step of building a good business relationship too, because if you just keep talking, you never will hear what the needs truly are, because you're talking too much. And so the first thing I did was I just kind of listened, because I was interested. I cared about what you were doing, and it kind of resonated with me. And so I felt like, okay, she just needs somebody to listen to right now. And so that was the first thing. And then the next thing was to talk about some of the details, like, okay, so what are some of the things that you need to have happen for this to go off well? And that's when the website came up, and I said, okay, cool. So let's deal with the website. Let's get that to where it needs to be. And then it just kind of morphed into, how else can I serve? And it turned out that I was able to show up that day and do some behind the scenes things and just being present. I think that was another lesson I learned through that whole experience, is to listen, to be present. And when we do those two things, that's when we truly know the needs of somebody, and where we can really figure out, do I have the skill set to actually help, or will I just cause even more disaster by stepping into the situation? Unfortunately, I had the skills to come in and help get that thing up and running, and was so glad to be able to be there that day helping behind the scenes. And it was just cool to see and be part of that impact that you're making, and knowing that that I had a part in that. So that was really cool.
I agree. And you are absolutely right. Even that listening component was enough to help me be able to verbally process some of the things that if you're an entrepreneur, you know, and Jeff, I know you know this, that there's so much going on in our minds and we can see it. We have vision for it. And if we're a Christian entrepreneur, it's because God has given us that vision and we can see something, even if it's not clear. We need other people to step in and help us to extract it, to put some flesh to it, and be able to have that vision. So when we are not seeing clearly, we need clarity. And Jeff, I know today you're going to talk on 3 different areas that as business owners, entrepreneurs, organization leaders, ministry leaders, all of us who are called by a specific purpose by God to put something out there and grow it, whether it's to grow impact income, if it's to grow income for organizations, He's called us to it. And we want to do it in such a way that we're focused, that we are on it, and that we're growing that in 2022. So I'm going to let you go ahead and just share with us, just give us one. What is the first area that we as business owners need to have really good clarity around? And share with us a little bit about that, because I know this process has been something that has just totally, I want to say, catapulted my business throughout the years. Every single year, I need to go back to these things and I need to relook at them, examine, find out what God's sharing and showing me, and then redo it. So share with us that first aspect of clarity that we need.
Yeah, and if it's okay, I want to, before I get there, I do want to touch a little bit on this clarity thing, even though that's not really the purpose of this call. But I think it's important to just kind of share a little bit, because I think some people might resonate with this. Back in 2014, 2015, I lost clarity in my business, and it led to a lack of focus. And so I can really relate to entrepreneurs who are maybe in that spot right now, and they're frustrated and they're confused and they don't know what to do or what next steps they need to take, because I've walked that journey. And for me, it was just being fully transparent, because that's how we roll here in the Winner Circle. It was a painful season, and there are a lot of mistakes that I made. A lot of people that I let down in that season because I didn't have clarity. I didn't have focus. And it took a few years for me to really understand that that was the whole reason behind that whole season of my life and in the business life. And so because of that journey, and because of what God did in my life and the way that He kind of directed my path in that whole season, He started to speak to me again, and He started to bring back some clarity. And what was interesting is, and I didn't really expect this, because I was looking for more like, well, God, just show me what the business looks like. Like, if you want me to get back into this thing called business and entrepreneurship, like, what's my business? And I was so focused on the business that I thought that was going to be the answer.
Mm.
And what was interesting is, first and foremost, I needed spiritual clarity.
So
I
true.
needed spiritual clarity. And as I started to pray along those lines of, okay, God, what's this spiritual clarity that you're talking about? And I very specifically remember God saying to me, this time, this is about me.
Wow.
And kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, wow. And I don't have time to go into everything that happened in 2014 or 15, but that spoke to me, because it wasn't like I wasn't trying to honor God in my business or bring God in, but because I lost that clarity, and that meant some spiritual clarity. Yeah, my business, it's no wonder what happened in my business happened. I'm thankful for it because I learned a lot. And so for me, clarity, first and foremost, is spiritual clarity. And as he brought that to my mind, I started to pray, okay, God, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And for me, what it meant was he wanted me to specifically work with Christian entrepreneurs. And he brought even more clarity around that. And as I started to get some of this clarity back, I started to get some focus back. I started to get some perspective back. And I started to realize, wait a minute here. Like, my business is so much more than just my business. Like, I can actually make an impact here with my business. And I started to ask myself, I wonder what would happen if other Christian entrepreneurs started to get the same mindset, the same clarity that, wait a minute, my business is more than just about being a business, but I can actually make impact through my business. What would that do for them? And that's what kind of started me on this journey working with Christian entrepreneurs and doing what I do now. And that's why for me, clarity is such an important aspect of a business. We need spiritual clarity, we need business clarity, because you can't separate those two as Christians, right? We tend to compartmentalize our life, and that we can't do that as Christians, right? I am a Christian business owner. Like, when I'm a business owner, I'm still a Christian, and I still need to operate my business like that. So one of the things I enjoy doing, and I've actually started recently owning this because I never really owned this before, but I had a lot of people tell me, Jeff, you're so good at bringing clarity for me. I'm like, really? And I used to dismiss it. And the more and more I heard people say that, it's like, okay, maybe there's something here now. And so that's
Mm.
why the clarity thing is so huge. And there may be some of you listening right now who are like, yeah, I resonate. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing in my business. I didn't know what I'm supposed to be focused on. Or maybe you lack focus right now, and maybe you need some clarity. And I'm praying that 2022 is the year when that can happen. So, what I want to spend the rest of the time on is talking about what are the three areas that you need clarity around. What are the three things that maybe God's leading you to do next year to help grow your business? So, the first thing is we need clarity around our audience. We need to know who we serve. And you may be thinking to yourself, but Jeff, I know who I serve. Okay, that's great. Maybe you do. But let's go a little bit deeper.
Let me interrupt for just a second as I look in here and I see some of the people who are on live and just give a couple shout outs. We have Michelle Brinkley, and she is a yoga instructor. We have Terry Lawson, and she is a realtor. We have, let's see, Lisa Mosier, and she is a speakers coach. And we have Vlad, and we have, I'm trying to see here, Lene Pisano, and she is writing a book. And what I see through all of these different people is that they all have impact to be making. And like you just said, maybe they already think they know who their audience is, but whether you are, you know, that your audience is someone who wants to buy or sell a home, or if you're writing a book and you know your audience is someone who is going to read or listen to your book, you're saying we need to go deeper. So for each of you who are listening, again, let us know down in the comments what you do and a little bit about where you want to make impact or God's calling you to make impact. And Jeff, what are, with just knowing a little bit about who's on right now, we can think about going deeper. What does that look like?
Yeah, so understanding your audience, first and foremost, we have to try to narrow that down, because so often what we tend to do is we try to serve everybody, right? Especially those of us who love to serve. We get into this tendency of, well, I can help everybody. Everybody needs what I have to offer. And while that may be true, and we'll talk about this in the second area where we need clarity, but in my experience, when you try to serve everybody, there is a lack of clarity often in how we communicate what we do and how we can help. And so, one of the things I love doing with my clients is really asking them, if you could pick your ideal client, like you're just one person, one type of person that you feel like you love working with, you can help them the most, you can provide the most value to, what you do and how you serve is going to help them the most. Who is that ideal person? And what's interesting is it's a hard assignment at first, right? And I love watching this process because at first it's like, well, I don't know because I can serve everybody. And what's interesting is probably 9 times out of 10, I can help people narrow down their audience and get it down to that one specific type of person. I know we have a realtor on watching the live, and I had a realtor client once, and she came to me and she says, I'm struggling with my business. The first thing I asked her was, who do you serve?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I serve everybody. I'm like, that's the problem. And it was funny, like she kind of looked at me like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you're trying to serve everybody. And what ended up happening was so cool was I asked her those questions like, who's the one person that you'd really love to help buy houses, sell houses to? And what's interesting, she said doctors.
Hmm.
She said, what's interesting is my last 4 or 5 sales have come from doctors. And I said, how does that make you feel? And she started to light up and she started to get excited. And she's like, they were great to work with. Like, that's like, I love helping doctors get into their first home or whatever. And so what we decided for her was we decided to niche down, and she became the realtor to doctors.
Hmm.
And guess what? Her business exploded.
I could see how that would happen because as soon as you have one happy client that knows that you know them and that there is this good connection because God's given you that calling, they're probably going to go and they're going to refer. They're going to share with other doctor friends and they're going to know a big group of people, and you're going to be that go-to person because you're specialized. You have an expertise.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I was excited to see her growth. And unfortunately, a few years ago, there was a house fire in Dublin. It was in the news, and she was the one that was killed, getting
That was
caught.
by my house. Yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, it was exciting to see that transformation in her, and which kind of leads into the second area where we need clarity. But think about those questions. Who do you absolutely love working with? Who's your ideal client? They bring you the most joy. They do what you tell them to do, right? Because we want clients that will take our feedback and put it into practice, because we believe that when we give feedback, it's good feedback. And we want clients who take action on what we do. So who are those types of people? And so these are some questions that you can ask yourself when you consider, okay, how do I actually focus in more on who I serve?
That's good. All right. So you said that you're going to share with us the next area. So we have our audience. And down in the comments, anyone want to let us know who is your audience? After hearing that, before really diving in, if you already know, tell us the most specific way that you can. And if you're not sure yet, that's okay. This is something that you can grow on, and we're continuously growing on. Like, we need to go at the pace that God's given before us, and it might just be that very next step that you are ready to clarify. So, all right, the next area, Coach Jeff, share with us.
The next area is your message.
Hmm.
You need to have clarity around your message. And this includes the who. This is why getting clarity around the who is so important, because in your messaging, and when I talk about messaging, I'm talking about the way in which you communicate to the who you serve, how you serve them, and the benefits they can get. Okay, so that's kind of when I talk about messaging, that's kind of a high level look at what I mean by messaging. And so think about this. If we're trying to serve everybody, the message is going to be unclear, because now we have to try to speak to everybody.
Yeah.
And when you try to speak to everybody, you typically will end up losing people.
That's a really good point. Can I share an example real quick?
Yeah.
And you would be familiar with this. I know for those of us who are authors or who might be writing a book, this is really important, because we need to know exactly who our audience is and what kind of messaging we're sharing. Mm-hmm. And when I was writing Measuring Up, and I love to just go ahead and throw it up there because, hey, why not, right? So when I was writing this, Measuring Up, How to Win in the World of Comparison, I was writing to what I thought was the right audience, which was everybody who wanted to learn how to measure up the right way and stop comparing themselves with others and learn how to use comparison to their benefit instead of their detriment. So all that messaging was right. However, I was trying to write to everybody, right? I was trying to write to men, women, different ages, whatever. And all of the examples and all of the story that I would share, I pretty much had to put into different little pieces and segments. And thankfully, I had a group of people. Jeff, you were one of those, men and women. I had different ages, different populations of those who were reading my book as I wrote it, my pilot group. And one time I remember specifically where they said, you know what? We are noticing that you're writing choppy. It's kind of getting confusing. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? They're like, you're writing to men and you're sharing examples this way because they think different than women. And you're writing to young and old, and it's getting choppy. When I prayed about it, and I'm like, all right, God, what do you want? I want to be able to serve all the people you're telling me. And he's like, don't worry, you will. That was what I was hearing. Don't worry, you will. Just choose. So because I'm a woman, I decided to write with the audience toward women. You'll see there's women up on the front here. Here's what's amazing. When I wrote specifically to women and my messaging came across that way and I had clarity, oh my goodness, it turns out that many of the Amazon reviews now are from men even who are saying, this book is not just for women, but because I needed to be clear and I needed to speak clear and be very intentional about who I was speaking to and the messaging. It brought a whole new, it really made the book so much better. So whether you're an author, whether you're a business owner, if you have a ministry you're speaking through or about, this is powerful. And Jeff, what you're saying is spot on.
Yeah, and some things that we need to know for the messaging is not only do we need to know the audience, but like Renee, going back to your book, you have to know what their pain points are too, so that you can write to address those. And our messaging needs to address the pain points, and that comes out in our messaging as well. We also have to know, what are their dreams? What are they aspiring to? What do they want to achieve in their life? And especially when it comes to how you can help them. You know, what are their challenges? What pain are they trying to avoid? Right? And when we go deep into knowing our audience, those things come out, then we can utilize those things in how we message. And so if you go to my website, the first thing people see, the first thing, because you have 3 seconds to get somebody when they come to your website or they bounce. So if you don't capture them within those first 3 seconds, they're gone. And if you don't have clear messaging right up front, you could lose potential business. So if you go to my website, right up front, I speak to who I serve. It's very clear. I serve Christian entrepreneurs, and I bring out and highlight some of the pain points and some of the pain they want to avoid, and that I'm the person to help them do that.
Mm.
And that's clarity. And I've had people say and read that, and they're like, that's me. Oh my goodness. Were you a fly in the wall in that conversation? And I was talking about and that's the response we want. We want our ideal audience to literally say, wow, it's as if I had just had coffee with somebody I didn't know, and they know me so well. They know my challenges. They know what I'm trying to achieve, and they know the roadblocks that I have right now to get in there. And that's what happens when you have clarity around your message, which is the result of having clarity around your audience.
That's really good. Absolutely. All right. So we need to have clarity around our audience, our message, and what's the third aspect that we need as business owners, ministry leaders, entrepreneurs to have clarity around?
How to serve them.
Ooh.
How to
You mean
serve
we're going to actually serve people? We're not just going to sell them? Ooh,
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, we gotta serve. And this is a whole mindset thing too that I love coaching through is we just don't we're not just as kingdompreneurs. It's not just about the products and the services that we can pump out and push out
Mhm.
and force down people's throats and hope that they buy, even though they may not need what we have for them. Right? When we're doing that, it's because we don't have clarity around our audience. We're
Mhm.
not listening either. We're just giving them what we think they need. And we've all had that salesperson, right, who just tries to sell us what they think we need, and they don't want to listen to us and get to know what we actually do need, or worse yet, if they're actually the right person to help. Right? Like I've said no lately to some clients because I'm clear on who I want to serve.
Mhm.
I'm like, nope. And
And then
that,
you'll even have those people sometimes where it's like the product, like they have a product and they're just trying to, like they haven't done the research, they don't even know all those other things. And so they're just pushing it out.
yep.
And yet, like what you're saying here is that you need to do it the opposite way. You need clarity around what people are needing, and then you create the product.
Yeah. And you do it with a heart and attitude of service.
Yes. That's good.
And because we want to help people that come to us that we can help. And we need to serve, and we need to have this attitude of service, and we need to know, what can I do with my skill set, with my passion, even and so sometimes I work with clients where their product and service comes out of place of pain.
Hmm.
It comes out of a journey that they themselves have been on, and they found this solution for how to overcome that. And now they're like, I need to help other people just like me because I've been down that journey. I've been down that road. I've implemented A, B, C, and D, and I've gotten the results I need. Oh my goodness, how can I help other people with the same thing? And that's when they take that process that they've used to help them overcome their challenges and roadblocks, and they turn that into a framework now, which then that becomes their product and service that they can sell to help other people. But it comes from a deep understanding, again, of what are the needs of your ideal client. What's their deepest need? And then to get honest with ourselves and say, is that actually a need that I can solve?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't say
Clarity.
clarity. Exactly. We have to have clarity around what our superpowers are, what we're good at, what our abilities are, the skill sets, things that we've learned. I've been in this online space since 2007, and I've gone through trainings and certifications, and so all that comes into play here. But here's the thing, though, and this is what got me in trouble back in 2014. I knew so much. I could do so much. And I was trained and skilled in all those things. But to be really honest, I probably should not have done half of those things, even though I could do them. Like, so that's where we have to have clarity around even ourselves and what we can do. Because you may know how to do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean you're going to be doing all those things in your business. You need to really get honest with yourself and say, what do I have to bring to the table here when I'm creating my products and services? Will this actually help somebody? Or am I just trying to do something because I need an extra buck?
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's a good point. Like, we didn't talk about this, but having clarity around ourselves and our own abilities is so important here. And so when we create our products and services, again, it flows from who that ideal person is and knowing what they need. And then asking ourselves, do we actually have a solution for them? If the answer is yes, then you create that product and service, and the end result of that is you just served that person by helping them overcome a challenge that they've had for so long that they just kept telling themselves, oh, if I could just get past this, if I could just get past this roadblock, I'd be a much different person. I'd be in a much different situation right now. I'd be further along in X, Y, and Z. And that's where the service comes into play. And I love when I can get clients to that place, because I feel like if I can do that, I've served them. And that's my biggest passion in what I do right now is I just want to serve people. And there can be a downside to that too, because my willingness to want to serve and help people often can lead to, well, get back into the old way of doing things. Oh, sure, I can do all those things. I can help all these people. So it's a struggle for me even to have to remind myself, Jeff, like
Clarity.
Having that clarity, going back to my clarity, my focus. So that's kind of the third area where I believe we need focus in 2022.
Yeah, you brought up some really good points, and how we are being so intentional with so many things in our lives, so many aspects. We're trying to be intentional. We set goals as business owners, and we set, these end results. We have to make this much, or we have to make sure that we are serving this many people, and we count these numbers. And all of these statistics, all of these markers are really important, and we need to be setting goals. But what I hear you say is that if we don't have clarity around these three things, our audience, our message, and how we serve, like specifically what those avenues, those products and services are, then we're actually not going to grow in the way that God intended for us to, or the way that He wants to bless us. And He wants us to hit those goals because He gives us the goals. But we need to do the underlying work.
Yeah, I mean, I would even be bold and say, if you don't have that clarity and focus, having goals won't mean anything.
Right? Definitely won't get us in the right. It doesn't. Yeah, we can't hit them if we're not even clear on what we're doing. It'd be like, I have a goal by the end of the year to have a new product ready to go and serve this many people, but we have to do that underlying work. We can't just throw something out. It doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve others. And it definitely doesn't serve our Lord.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how we have been able to clarify more. And I know one of the areas that God has helped me to clarify is, and then let me back up. God doesn't necessarily just give. Some people He might, but sometimes He doesn't give us the whole thing at once. He gives us little pieces. And when we're obedient in that step, He'll give us the next. And then we get the next step, and we get the next. And in a lot of obedience, and then plenty of disobedience, and plenty of, God, I don't really want to do that right now. I mean, there's been all of that, because we're all imperfect. But in the steps of obedience, He has shown me what He wants me to do, and at least up to this point. And that was in 2020 to finish publishing Measuring Up, and then to start the Winner's Circle, which It's been such a blessing having you be a part of that. And so many other that I've seen on here, Michelle, Terry, gosh, there's so many amazing people in this group. And then I knew earlier this year that he was calling me to another step. And I had to take time and had to do these same steps that you're talking about and find clarity around, okay, is this the exact same audience or is this a different audience? Is this the same message or a different message? But where you have me go, Lord, what is that? How is it you're wanting me to serve? What is this new thing? And lo and behold, here we are today. And we know, like I know exactly what that is. And I'm going to share with you now what that is, because those of you who are watching, if you have gotten this far, you might be a Christian business owner. You might be someone who is looking for community, who's been struggling or feeling alone. You might be someone who has a ministry and you go and you find other business growth or community, but yet you're not finding the kind of people that are like-minded, that know that your spiritual life, your personal life, your professional life can't be dismembered. They have to come together because God created us that way. You also might be looking for a space that's going to help you grow your business, but also, like Jeff mentioned earlier, how important it is to also learn about ourselves and grow ourselves, because knowing ourselves will help us know our superpowers and grow our business. And helping us grow with the Lord in our spiritual growth is going to help us grow our business and our relationships and our health and our personal life. So all of these intertwined, that was what God was showing me. And so lo and behold, what we have, and I'm just going to show it out here. I'm here to serve. I'm not here to market. And Jeff, I know your heart is the exact same way, but we have the ability to share now that we have a 6-month mastermind coming out. It is going to launch January 8th. It is called the Winner's Pace Mastermind. And that's something that, Jeff, you're going to be the business coach in this. And I know that you have some really neat modules that you're going to be laying out over those 6 months. We're going to culminate with an amazing retreat, which is also included. But would you mind sharing some of those topics that you're going to be talking about so that others here can have an idea of what that part might be about?
Yeah, and it won't be a surprise to anybody, but we're going to talk about how do you niche down? How do you define your ideal audience? That's the first thing we're going to talk about in month 1 is a process of finding out who the ideal audience is for you. Who's that client that you just love to work with? Then from there, we'll get into how to create a message around that. And then we'll look at, are there some products and services that you might be able to launch in 2022? And this is a fun process too, because often people say, but I'm doing everything I can do. And I love the process of helping them discover, oh, I didn't see that with what I'm already doing. I can maybe take a sliver of that, take it out, and bingo, you have another source of revenue. So I love this process of helping people look at what they're currently doing, or maybe doing something completely different, something additional. So we'll look at that. We'll talk about how to create that product and service. What are the steps that go into that? How do we price it? How do we message around it? We'll talk about setting up sales pages to sell that product and service. So I'll be giving you some templates and some guidance on how to write sales copy. We'll talk about list growth, building your email list so that you actually have buyers in that list for your products and services. So these are just a few of the things that we'll be doing inside of Pace, and I'm really excited about that. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but those are kind of the main things we're focused on.
And what's super cool is that you also just recently shared, and I think some of the other coaches have also decided that they want to do something like this, but that you're going to do bonus office hours. And for those who, and by the way, anyone who's listening, we are only having 10 different members within this, and we do have a total of 4 coaches. So we have myself, we have Jeff, he's a business coach. We have Ryan. Coach Ryan is the personal growth and development. He works with the Enneagram, and that will also be part of learning more about how to grow spiritually, professionally, and personally. We have Coach Sally, who is going to be our spiritual growth leader coach. And wow, just once a week, being able to get together, having all of us there, having amazing members as a mastermind so that we can help one another grow and with ideas and flourish and support. I'm just so excited. I am seriously, just to watch how God has put this together and to really hone in on the audience, knowing who that is, to know that we're going to have accountability, and we need that. I mean, I need that too. We need each other. We need that community. But all of this together being something that is going to honor God and help all of us win, help all of us be able to make our impact in the world. So if you're listening and you're interested and it's just anything that was mentioned today resonates with you, then you can go to the website that is here on the screen. It's reneevador.com/pace. And let me tell you, I am not the business coach. Like, I get things done basically because I rely on other people to, I'll hire different people, get help, and the things I do my own oftentimes isn't very good. So that website may not even be completely fulfilled, but I'll tell you what, the information there is going to give you an idea of what this mastermind is about. 6 months, every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, as well as we will have a 2-day retreat in Columbus, Ohio in June to culminate that. And PACE stands for progress, spiritually, professionally, and personally. The A is accountability. The C is community. And the E is encouragement. So if those things resonate with you and you are part of the ideal audience, as Jeff has helped clarify as well, which is business entrepreneurs, business owners, ministry leaders, those who are motivated to growth in 2022, that have a specific calling that they are ready to invest some time in, invest some finances in, and invest some service in because they want to serve others. Those are the kind of people we're looking for. So Jeff, what do you want to add to all this? I know you have been just an integral foundational part in this coming together, and I want to thank you. So first that.
Yeah, 3 things really quick, I promise. First of all, I've seen growth in you in this area, and I think this PACE program is a result of you understanding the importance of clarifying your audience. And the program you put together, I do think definitely meets the deep needs of your audience. And you put a program together that is going to serve them and help them. So I just wanted to say, like, that's why I'm excited about PACE, because you've done that. And you've helped us as the coaches in the program also have that clarity. And it's nice to be able to step into something knowing exactly who we're going to serve. And so I just wanted to just say that you've grown in this, and I've seen it, and that's great. The second thing I want to say is just, again, reiterate, clarity breeds focus, and focus breeds action. And if you're stuck right now in your business, it might be a clarity issue. And it might be time for you to say, you know what? Yeah, I do need some clarity. I do need some focus. And maybe I'm not, maybe things aren't bad, right? And I'm not saying but at every stage in our business, focus changes, clarity changes. And 2022 might be that year when it's time to shake things up. It's time to maybe get more clarity or better clarity. And that always leads to focus. And focus always leads to taking action. And that's, I started a coaching program back in August. And the biggest compliment I get is we've gotten more done in these 4 months than I've gotten done in my business in 3 or 4 years. But it's because of the clarity and the focus that they got. So remember that. The last thing I want to say is if you thinking to yourself, man, this PACE program, it sounds good, but I don't know, and maybe there's some excuses. I don't know. But I want to say this. I want to encourage you this way. Would you believe in yourself enough? Believe in yourself enough to invest in PACE and believe that it's something that God could use in your life in this moment in time to really do something transformational, not only in your life, but in the life of your business for the sake of the kingdom. That's a safe investment, in my opinion. So believe in yourself enough to say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to invest in this and I'm going to believe in myself. And more than that, believe that God has a purpose in all of that. Sometimes I think we don't invest in ourselves because we don't believe in ourselves.
Hmm.
And so I just want to end by just saying that believe in yourself enough to make an investment in this program and just watch what God can do in 2022 in 6 months, because I believe God's going to do amazing things. He already has.
Yes, he
You
has.
know, us coaches have been meeting now for, I don't know, the last month.
Several months. No,
And
like it's been since before September. So yeah.
so, and we're growing and we're changing, and God's doing amazing things in that. And so we're so excited to kind of bring other people into that journey with us. So believe in yourself, make this investment. Don't believe the lies that the enemy may be tossing your way, like, well, all these things, all these reasons why I can't.
I'm
Just
not good enough, or my idea is not good enough, or my business isn't big enough, or my business is too big and it's too small for me. Like all those things that, or I don't have enough resources, all those things that the enemy can tell us.
mm,
Yeah, here's a safety net. Let me share this part that I didn't even mention. There is an application because we know our audience so well and we're clear, because we're clear around who we are as coaches and we're clear around what God's mission is for this, and we've been praying about it for so long, and we've been praying for those who we know God has in it and already has brought into it. So not all 10 spots are available, by the way. I know for a fact that when you have a resignation, when you know God's saying, pricking your mind like, this might be for you, and you read through and you're like, there's a couple different things going through mind. If you fill out that application, which there's no commitment to fill it out, then I'm telling you, you'll have more clarity just by filling out the application, and we'll be able to know if it's the right fit. So that's another nice little safety thing, is that we know who the right fit is. And just because it may or may not be for you right now doesn't mean it's not in the future, or that we might know something that would be helpful for you right now and we can refer you that way. That's what Christian business entrepreneurs should be doing. Kingdompreneurs should be really looking for the best of what our clients and our friends and our fellow business owners, what is the best for each of them. So I just want to give you that reassurance there. Well, Jeff, this has been amazing. And going back through, learning about the need for clarity, and even some really helpful tips on how to do that, of our audience, of our message, of our products and services, our how we serve. Goodness, I just want to say thank you for sharing that today, and for all that you have already been doing within the PACE Mastermind that isn't even out there yet. But with our official launch coming up in January, thank you in advance, because I know that those who are going to be served are going to be served well, and I appreciate you.
yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity. It's always great to chat with you.
Yes. All right. Well, I will go ahead and just let you guys know that there are some open spaces as of right now. Go ahead and check out. If you have questions, go ahead and put them down in the chat box. Reach out to me personally, privately, or Jeff. We're happy to serve. We're happy to help, and we look forward to helping you win at life and make your impact. If you're someone who has been listening because this is all intriguing and you enjoy it, but maybe you're like, I'm not really a business owner, or I'm not, I want to win at life, but I'm not necessarily at a point where that's where God has me, then check out the Winner Circle. Go to bealifewinner.com And you can check out there a community that is also motivated to help one another win at life and make a difference in the world. All right. Go out and be who you're created to be. Do what you are designed to do so you can win at life and make your impact in the world. Talk to you soon.